Aloha everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Sheila K, the Happiest Hobbyist, and I'm so glad you're here again for another one of my videos. You may recall in my last video I said I was going to try to get a new video out at least every couple of weeks, and I think I'm late. The fact is I've been working on it. I've had a lot of people out in the world ask me if I'm working on it or if I quit or what's up, and no, I'm actually working very hard, working on a drum cover, because I know that's what a lot of people want to see. So, since it's taken me so long, what I decided to do is actually make a making of the drum cover. So this is the making of my first ever drum cover. I'm going to walk you through some of the hardware, well, all of the hardware I guess that I'm using, and some of the software, and by the end of the video I'll show you where I'm at and how it's going. So again, if you enjoy the video, please do hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when there's another video, when I put another video out, and thanks again. Aloha. Let's get started. Okay, so if you are considering making a drum cover video yourself and you don't have a lot of gear, don't have a lot of money, and you're thinking it can't be done, this video might prove to you that that is not the case. I'm going to show you what I'm working with. And so here we go. Let's get started with the first thing that I use in my attempt at making a drum cover is this camera. This camera is, where'd it go? This camera is the SJ Cam. It's an SJ6 Legend. It is a cheap little action camera that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. Spent $30. It's the camera itself. It's got the little mounts and all that jazz. And then it came with all of these things also for the $30, so that was super cool. And it's a bunch of mounts. I sorted them out and put them in bags. You gotta, this here is for going underwater, so I haven't done that yet, but you'll probably see that because there's an ocean. It's cool under there. So that's the first thing I'm using. That's like I said, not an expensive camera. It doesn't have the best sound in the world, but it's literally also not the worst. Phones are much worse than the sound of this action camera. So you'll actually, that'll be mixed in and you'll see that, you'll hear it in what's going on. So that's camera number one. That's the overhead camera that I use, and I use it with this. Let me pause that. I use it with this tripod that I'm gonna have to bring down so you can see it. But this is not an expensive tripod by any means. This came from the transfer station, and for those of you who don't know, the transfer station is the dump. It's where we take our garbage and we dump it here in Hawaii, but they also have a recycle center there, so people donate their used things that are still good, and then other people buy them for cheap. So I think we got this for about $1, and its only real problem is, see if I can find it, see that metal there? Oh no, right there, there you go. So that's a wing nut, and it should actually be one of these plastic things, but it was broken, so we got this for cheap. Like I said, maybe $1, and I stick the action camera on there, and it is the center camera. Now, I've been told by someone else I know that makes drum cover videos that nobody in the world wants you to just play your music through the stereo and play the drums over the top, because number one, it sounds terrible. No one wants to hear it. It's hard to mix that and make that sound right. Anyone who plays drums knows that's actually true. Excuse me. But there's another reason for that I found, because I tried it anyway, and that's that you can't hear. You know, you're not going to be able to hear your music well enough unless you have it cranked up super loud, and then you know it's not going to record well. So, like I said, I did that anyway, and here's a little glimpse of that. This is basically day one. And mind you, none of this was intended to be recorded, so what I'm wearing or whatever throughout this entire video, pay no attention to that. I'm at home, I'm trying to learn my gear. So here we go. This is day one with the SJ Cam SJ6. There we go. SJ6 only. right, now that we have the overhead camera taken care of, that's my favorite shot. In all the drum videos, I just love to see the overhead. So got that one taken care of. Then, of course, there is the zoom. Where did that go? Oh, I'm recording with it. Okay, so there's the Zoom Q2N. That is designed for musicians, so that gets pretty decent sound, of course. Go check out the video. I did a review on that. Go check that out if you would. I'm going to show you now little clips of how that worked out. This is one. I started out with checking the camera angles, where I want it, you know, all that jazz, and I got that. And then I moved on to checking some sound, some gain, whatever. You'll see here in just a second. All right, after the camera angle or the field of view, the wide angle versus telephoto, then it's time to figure out the camera settings. Now, I went through all the camera settings on the Zoom. Again, if you check the review, you'll see that I had some issues with that, and that has not changed at all whatsoever. I still went through all the settings, and in the video that I'm showing you, you'll see it doesn't look all glitchy, but that was a lot of work, and I won't do that again. I learned, I took the pictures, put the little card up so I could see what was up, and all of them were difficult to work with until I brought it down to the 720 by 30, and that worked out just fine. So that's going to be my forever setting, or until I learn more or something, but it's pretty much my forever setting, and I don't think it looks quite as clear and lovely, but it's not too bad, so we're going to go with that. After working out the camera resolution settings, then I moved on to the gain settings for the sound, and I'm not quite done with that. I haven't quite finished with that, and so I can't really say too much about it, but it's working. Here's a little example right now. By the way, this sound right here, the reason I kept this sound is that I am working with a digital audio workstation. I'm trying to figure out how to manipulate this sound and make it sound the way I want it to sound, but I haven't figured it out yet. And now moving on to camera number 3. This is actually my favorite part of this whole recording thing in a way, because I'm goofy and I really like to see surprises in the world, and the fact that this works out blows my mind. So what I'm using for my third camera, it'll be a shot of my hands, torso, the forward shot looking straight at me basically. And what I'm using for that, believe it or not, is, I hope this shows up clearly on camera, look at this phone. This phone is 2 years old, I think. It is an old Android phone. It's a ZTE Blade X Max. It's got a decent camera on it. As a matter of fact, it's the best camera even out of the phone I use right now. I kind of have a cheap phone, and this has a better camera, so that's why I'm using it. Like, you can't see the buttons, you can't see the screen very well. You'll see in a second how bad it is. I used it for long enough that I know where the camera is, I know where the buttons are, and even if you can't see them, it works. So this is the ZTE Blade X Max. This is literally the camera that I'm using to record drum covers. So I stick the memory card in there, I record, I pull it out, works just fine. Look at that. And that gets mounted on another transfer station find. This is one cheap little tripod. It was actually broken right here. This part is not part of the tripod. This is part of a goofy little selfie stick thing, camera holder thing that I got for free at the transfer station. So I stick the phone in there and it just happens to fit down in there just fine. And so it's a very cheap, weak tripod, but I'm not smashing it around anyway, so it's fine. So that is how I use the phone to record the straight on shot, basically hands for, you know, sometimes we drummers watching drum covers, we like to see the hands. Then, once you've got all the cameras lined up, depending on how many cameras and camera angles you're working with, then you have to line up the sound. That's where the software comes in. For editing my films, wow. Okay, for editing, I'm using Shotcut. And again, just like everything else, this is new to me. And so I end up with separate video tracks, separate audio tracks, and then I have to line them all up. I would like to show you on my computer how exactly I do that, but I can't seem to manage to make it work right now, so I'm not going to. But suffice it to say, it takes a little bit to work to line it up, and I'm going to show you. This is actually what you're about to see here is the very first time I got it all lined up nicely. I was so excited. So here goes a little bit of that. Now I should note that I'm using for the audio, I have just the just the audio tracks that are in the Shotcut. I do have a digital audio workstation that on my laptop, it's Cakewalk, and here's a little bit of Cakewalk and what that looks like. Right there. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's a little thing I'm working on. But now, let me tell you the truth about that. The fact is, I can get music in that application or program. I can get the tracks in there. I've even figured out I've got a microphone. I can record into it with the microphone. But I have not in any way figured out how to manipulate the sounds that I put in there. So I can put the whole audio track of my playing something in there, but I can't change the sound. I can't manipulate it. I can't add the compression I can't do any of that yet. I don't know what I'm doing. So what you're going to see next is, well, basically it's how far I've gotten in making a drum cover. And in that, Cakewalk is not being used. That is only using the Shotcut video editing software. And the only filters I'm using are the gain. So I'm basically only setting the volume on these two tracks until I figure out more. So that's where I'm at. Those are the three cameras. Those are the angles. I'm going to show you, well, where I'm at right now. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Trust that I will actually complete a drum cover eventually. So anyway, here we go. This is how far I've gotten so far. I hope you enjoy it. Again, like, subscribe, and come back for more. Thanks. Aloha.